What's going on, guys? David and I are back with another video, and it's been, what, David, 3 weeks or something since we've done the OnePlus 5 unboxing?
About that.
It's been almost a month since we've done the OnePlus 5 unboxing, and I have been using said OnePlus 5 for almost a month, and it's a really good phone. So here we are. We're going to film the OnePlus 5 review. Let's get to it. So let's start off with the design. If I could describe the OnePlus 5's design in one word, it would be familiar. Oh. Wait, wrong phone. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Here we go. OnePlus 5. Yes, that is the OnePlus 5. All right. So like I said, familiar design. We have glass on the front and obviously metal around the frame and metal on the back. Antenna lines on the top and bottom of the phone. And arguably the most, I guess you could say, criticized point of the design of the OnePlus 5 is the new dual camera system, which a lot of people are saying is blatantly ripping off the design of another very popular flagship device that we all know and love. But to be completely honest with you guys, if you actually look at the OnePlus 5, it looks incredibly similar to the Oppo R11 more than it does the iPhone 7 Plus, which kind of makes sense because Oppo and OnePlus are brother and sister companies. They're owned by the same parent company, obviously. So, but if we are really getting down to it, some people say it's based off the iPhone 7 Plus, which you could make that argument. Apple arguably introduced the most popular dual camera flagship device. So whatever helps you sleep at night. I personally like the design of the OnePlus 5, but then again, I also like the design of the 7 Plus, so it makes sense that I like it. And of course, as far as buttons and ports go, you have your power button on the right side of the phone, your volume rocker on the left side of the phone. On the bottom, you have USB Type-C port and a headphone jack. Can't believe we have to actually mention the headphone jack in reviews now, but yes, 3.5mm headphone jack. On the front of the phone, you have a super fast fingerprint sensor that is also incredibly accurate. And I think OnePlus timed the unlock speed at 0.2 seconds, which is just ridiculous. On the bottom of the phone, again, you also do have a mono speaker, which we will get to in a second. But my favorite button on the OnePlus 5 is the alert slider. It's very popular on all OnePlus models, and it makes its return on the OnePlus 5, and it allows you to go from allowing all notifications to going completely do not disturb at the flip of a switch. That is super convenient, and I can't believe more Android manufacturers are not using it. So yeah, back to the mono speaker. Obviously it's on the bottom of the phone, and it's not the worst mono speaker I've ever heard. Even whenever you go to max volume, it doesn't really get too distorted or too tinny sounding, so that's most definitely a good thing. But I would always prefer to see a dual speaker setup. Just having a speaker in the earpiece of the phone just makes volume, especially whenever you're watching videos, just sounds so much better in my opinion. If you guys have a good pair of headphones, obviously this won't be a big deal, but for someone who watches videos or movies without headphones a lot of the time, a dual kind of speaker setup would have been a lot better to see on the phone. But for a mono speaker, it gets the job done and it's not that bad, so not bad overall. So I know a lot of people were kind of hoping that this year's OnePlus flagship phone would be upgraded to a Quad HD screen, but unfortunately this year again OnePlus went with a 1080p panel. Now it is Optic AMOLED and it does support the P3 color gamut, so colors on the screen are really vibrant, and as far as blacks go, they're incredibly dark. So it does actually look like a Quad HD panel, and unless you're really looking at it really hard and paying really big attention to detail, you're not going to be able to discern it too much from an actual Quad HD panel. So most definitely a win there. And as far as aspect ratio goes, it is 16:9. It's not the new design we've been seeing from like LG and Samsung. HTC has that in their U11, and that is still an amazing phone, so can't really knock screen aspect ratio. The OnePlus 5 screen still gets the job done, and I think the majority of people out there, even the ones who are kind of hoping for the Quad HD upgrade, will be happy with this 1080p panel. So 2017 has been a really good year in terms of performance for all the flagship devices, and the OnePlus 5 is no different. So let's get that out of the way real quick. So the OnePlus 5 comes in two different variants, a slate gray and a midnight black. Now both options will come with a Snapdragon 835 and an Adreno 540 GPU. Now you pair that with Oxygen OS, which besides HTC Sense is one of the most toned down Android experiences possible. You have blazing fast performance with absolutely no hiccups. I'm not kidding, absolutely no hiccups. You can do whatever you want on this phone and it will not skip a beat. Now, As far as where the two different variants differentiate themselves, it's internal storage and the amount of RAM that comes with the phone. So the Slate Gray OnePlus 5 comes with 64 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM, which is really good. The Midnight Black OnePlus 5 comes with 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. 8 gigs of RAM. I don't even think Android is optimized to be able to use 8 gigs of RAM yet, but they give you the option. So if you want 8 gigs of RAM, take 8 gigs of RAM. Who cares? Just do it. I mean, cell phones are just, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But I digress. Let's move back to the software of the OnePlus 5. And like I said in the previous take, it is Oxygen OS, and it's Android 7.1.1 Nougat outside of the box. Now, it is incredibly toned down, but it's also highly customizable. So there are really cool things you can do, like choosing to use the hardware buttons that come with the phone, back, recents, and obviously the home button that's built into the fingerprint sensor. Or you can also use on-screen navigation bars if you like, more of a Nexus or a Pixel or an LG or Samsung kind of a thing. You have different themes: light theme, dark theme, standard theme. You can change accent colors. You can do a lot of customization with this phone, but at the same time, OnePlus managed to keep Oxygen OS incredibly similar to stock Android. So theoretically, as long as OnePlus is on it in terms of software updates, you should receive relatively quick software updates. That being said though, OnePlus is kind of iffy with their software updates and device support. So I guess we're gonna see what the future holds. No news on Android O yet as far as that goes either, so I don't know, guys. So let's get battery life out of the way, because we want to spend a good portion of this video on camera, because when OnePlus released the OnePlus 5, they spent a good portion of their announcement or keynote, whatever you want to call it, on the phone's camera performance. So, battery life. Couple good factors that lead to good battery life on the OnePlus 5. 3300 milliamp hour battery, Snapdragon 835, fast but power efficient, and 1080p panel, which should lead to incredible battery life, right? On the OnePlus 5, the battery life is good. I expected it to be better. I was averaging about 4.5 to almost 5 hours of screen on time during my review period, which is really good. But on the HTC U11, which has a slightly smaller battery, coming in at 3000 milliamp hours, I was getting close to 6 hours of screen on time with that phone on a good amount of occasions. So for the OnePlus 5 to have a slightly less resolution screen and a larger battery, I would imagine that it would have better battery life than the U11, but it doesn't. That being said, it still gets incredibly good battery life, 4.5 hours to 5 hours of screen on time. That could get most users through a day. Now, the important part is the OnePlus 5 still comes with Dash Charge, which compared to any other quick charging mechanism or method out there, it is absolutely phenomenal. Even whenever the phone is being used, like high intensive, like you could be charging it while using Maps, while surfing the web, it'll still charge faster than any other quick charge method out there, and it charges ridiculously quick. I'm thinking 2.5 to 3% per minute, depending on how low your battery is. It's absolutely ridiculous. So battery life, 2 thumbs up. So like I said, OnePlus spent a great deal of time during their announcement focusing on how they improved the camera of the OnePlus 5, because the camera experience on all previous OnePlus phones was not up to par, even though their performance and everything else might be up to par. So we talked about in the beginning of the video that the camera on the back of the OnePlus 5 is incredibly similar to the 7 Plus and the Oppo R11, and I mean, there's no denying that. So on the OnePlus 5, there is a telephoto lens as well as a, what's the other word I'm looking for, David? Wide angle lens. There you go. So telephoto and a wide angle lens. The wide angle is going to deal with your standard shots. The telephoto is going to give you that enhanced zoom without cropping the photo, and it'll also allow you to take portrait mode photos, or basically enabling a bokeh effect on photos that have a clear subject. So regular photos on the OnePlus 5 are actually pretty darn good. I've got a few of them for you guys to take a look at right now. Detail is pretty sharp and accurate, color reproduction is really good, and the phone does really well in daylight situations. So here's some standard photos. Once you guys go through these, or once we look at them together actually, we'll go ahead and talk about the portrait mode on the OnePlus 5. So now that you saw regular pictures, let's talk about the portrait mode on the OnePlus 5. Incredibly similar to the iPhone 7 Plus again in terms of how the software looks. But in my opinion, the portrait on the OnePlus 5 is a little too kind of artificial. Now, in perfect situations where you have like ideal lighting, you have the ideal background, your subject comes through clear and sharp because of the lighting, you can still manage to get really good shots. But a lot of times, if you don't have those situations, or if the lighting is slightly off or subject is slightly off again, you get really artificial kind of deformation around the lines of the subject. And I'm pretty sure I have a couple photos for you guys to kind of see that effect. The first couple shots will be nice portrait photos, and then you might see some that are just a little too grainy for my taste. I'm sure OnePlus can improve this in future software updates though, so I'm not too worried about that. And as far as the front camera goes, OnePlus has you covered if you love selfies. It is a 16 megapixel shooter with f2.0 apertures. And what good is a phone review if there aren't a couple selfies thrown in? So David, let's take some selfies. So as you guys can see, overall camera performance on the OnePlus 5 is really good. If OnePlus 5 manages to improve the portrait mode with future software updates, they have a for sure solid hit as far as the camera goes on their new flagship. So not disappointed by any means as far as camera performance goes. It's really good, and I would not be upset if the OnePlus 5 was the only phone in my pocket whenever I was out with friends trying to capture some memories. So final thoughts on the OnePlus 5. It is a really good phone. I have a couple knocks as far as the OnePlus 5 goes, but overall, it's super solid. You have a really nice screen, even though it's 1080p. It's a really nice screen. Performance is top-notch. I mean, every Android phone that we've seen in 2017 has basically had top-notch performance, other than a few hiccups from the Galaxy S8 here and there. But OnePlus 5's performance, top-notch. The price is okay. The 64 gigs of internal storage OnePlus 5, the slate gray that I mentioned earlier, that starts at $479, and for about $60 or $70 more, so around $539, $540-ish, you can get the midnight black OnePlus 5. A little bit higher than last year's OnePlus 3T, which was higher than OnePlus 3, which was higher than OnePlus 2. So OnePlus is slowly following up on phones that are gradually going up in price, but at least we can say that they are improving with every iteration. Battery life is solid, can most definitely get you through a day. Dash charge is incredible as far as that goes. We already touched on camera. Camera is great. Hardware is nice. I like the design of the phone. My only issues with the OnePlus 5, it is not IP rated at all, which a lot of now flagship phones these days are coming with at least IP67 or IP68. I'm not saying I get caught in the rain every day or jump in the pool with my phone in my hand every single day, but it's just kind of nice to have that, you know, peace of mind in the back of your head, knowing that if that does happen, or if you wanted to get some underwater shots with your phone, you would be just fine doing that. And it's also not compatible with CDMA networks, so it only works with GSM, Cricket, T-Mobile, AT&T, any network carrier that uses a GSM type SIM card. So it's not going to work on Verizon or Sprint, which there are cheaper phones than the OnePlus 5 that are compatible with CDMA networks. So hopefully on their next flagship phone, they manage to fix those two things, and they will have like a surefire hit as far as the flagship goes on their hands. But nonetheless, at the price point, I could still recommend the OnePlus 5. The good thing is you do have tons of options out there if the OnePlus 5 is not for you. So overall, great phone, but you have options, and it's important to keep that in mind. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the likes and subscribe button down below, and don't forget to leave us a comment and let us know what you thought about the review. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace. Eight gigs of random access memory, or RAM. Come on, guys. You guys actually thought I would cuss on camera when I have, you know, a good following watching these videos. I have my family watching these videos, friends watching these videos, family friends watching these videos. You guys thought I would cuss on camera? That's just ridiculous.